I'm Curtis Cheatham Jr. and welcome to This Week in Black America. And here's a rundown of this past week's highlights. Wildfires continue to burn across New Jersey, while the actions of the administration are stoking a fire for protests across the country. There's a tariff war that with China continues, but the administration may be having a change of heart. We'll check that out as well. What's the U.S. saying about Burkina Faso's gold, and why is it their business? Tesla's first quarter results have plummeted 71%, and there's a sign that Musk may soon be moving on. All that and more on This Week in Black America. I got my brother Deshone here. How are you, brother?
I'm great, brother. I'm great. Appreciate you, Curtis. If this is your first time rocking with us, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the community. If you're a regular, you already know what it is. We go live every Friday, 12 noon to 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Hello Black America YouTube channel, Brother Deshone YouTube channel, and our Facebook pages. We are also live on Instagram on our Hello Black America Instagram. So this is your show just as much as it is Curtis's and I. You are our co-host. We're here to catch you up on what you missed for the week, but you may also in the chat let us know what we may have missed. Okay, so if you're going to spend some time with us, go ahead, hit the like button. It lets the algorithm know that this conversation matters. And if you want to stay tapped into real news, real people, real purpose that affects Black America, hit the subscribe button, join the community. All right, we see you, we appreciate you. Let's get started, Curtis, because boy, oh boy. We got a lot, boy. Everything you talked about, like, I mean, to say the least about that. I got so many topics that I want to hit on, that I want us to go deep on. But some of those things, like when Elon may be backing down. It doesn't look like anti-DEI is profitable. It looks like
who knew?
It may be the recipe for the destruction of your company. So, well, hey, why don't you kick us off and let's get right into it.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but you know, we're local here in New Jersey, so we want to start there because there's some wildfires burning in. Last I heard, 8,500 acres or something crazy. It's causing all types of visibility and air quality issues in New York and some of those areas. So it's a big deal, you know, but the problem with this, or not the problem, but this one actually turns out, it looks like this is arson. The authorities apparently have someone in custody, a 19-year-old, who basically has been charged with, when we say arson, you think that, oh, they went out there and lit a match to purposely start a fire, but arson was just basically, he was irresponsible. He was lighting a bonfire or something using those wooden pallets, and didn't extinguish them properly. And then, you know, with the drought conditions we've been having in Jersey and around the country, really, it just made for a tinderbox that just kind of went up in smoke here. So we're still battling that even this morning. I know it probably is a little bit more under control, but it was a quick moving wildfire that we're seeing across New Jersey. I know you maybe hadn't been paying attention a lot this week, but you brought this to my attention actually. So yeah. I know you were aware of the wildfire. What are your thoughts on the wildfires and this 19-year-old being in custody?
Well, I was nervous because, seeing the wildfires in California last year in the fall, we had some bad wildfires during about going on 3 months of drought here in the tri-state area. As Curtis said, we're in New Jersey. We had wildfires that were popping up in places we'd never seen. Pennsylvania, parts of New Jersey here, in New York, based on drought. So when I saw it, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Because we've been getting rain. So it didn't make sense. Usually when you're getting rain, you're not in the dry season. But the answer is it was actually not a natural disaster. It was negligence on the part of this 19-year-old. And I mean, imagine that having that on your life resume.
Right.
What'd you do? What are some of your worst mistakes you've ever made? Well, I left some fire burning in a little area, and I actually burned down 8,500 acres. Whoa!
Shut down people's businesses, took people's homes,
evacuated homes, burned.
Yeah.
Woo! It's hard to come back from that, but yeah. Unfortunately, you know, hey, you're gonna face justice, man. You did a lot of damage. It was negligence, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see how much time you end up doing. This ain't you ain't gonna burn down my house and half my neighborhood and get probation.
Yeah. Even though he has the melanin deficiency that usually works in your favor with regard to the judicial system, I think some people are going to be mad enough that they're going to be like, yeah, you're going to have to do some time behind this, buddy.
I agree. No deaths though, right? Oh, sorry about that. I put this out. No death though. No reported deaths.
No, none reported. Just property damage. Yes. So that, that'll weigh in his favor. Property, maybe he'll just have to work and do restitution. We do believe in restitution for some people. It's just others that we have trouble believing in restitution for them. So, I mean, it's a big deal for us because we're here in Jersey. The rest of the world may not be caring, but we're seeing more and more of this. So it's something we ought to be aware of. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he better not get probation. If this guy burned down 8,500 acres by accident and he gets probation, we're here in New Jersey, y'all. Best believe. I mean, nothing really surprises me, and I don't think it does you either, Curtis, regarding the judicial system in America. But I mean, come on. let's.
Yeah.
And I think because we have so many white neighbors in New Jersey, they're not gonna let that happen.
They're not gonna let this go. Jersey is kind of different in that regard. Like, don't come for Jerseyans because we're not about that life. So, but we're starting to see really more of an appetite nationally for people to be protesting. For that fire within them is being stoked, as I talked about at the beginning of the show, because of what this administration is doing and the way they've been acting. I know you've been kind of preoccupied this week, but there have been protests literally in every state in America, and I'm talking about anywhere from Alaska to the smallest state, and sometimes it's big protests, sometimes it's little protests. I don't know if we could play the first. I don't know if you can do this, but like the first 15 seconds or so of this clip would shows just the magnitude of how many protests we're seeing. LA, New York, Washington, like little towns in the South, Republican areas, really deep red MAGA areas. We're still seeing these large protests going on, and in a lot of cases, we're seeing things change because of these protests.
Okay, let me try to scroll down because we're gonna have to do something a little different because I got the headphones in. So, but let me just
if it's a problem, either one of those links are the same.
I'll just unplug the headphones and I'll bring it into the studio. But what
either those both
the headline is it?
Those are both they're both the same. The links are the same.
Hang on 1 second. Hold on. We got so many headlines here. Which headline are we bringing in?
That's the one under the national protest, the Reuters.
Okay, hang on 1 second. All right, so now this is clips that we're going to bring in of protests happening all around the country. And are you guys aware of this? Are you? Because I think what we talked about a month ago about where was the action, and I think after that economic blackout, we got major action. We began to see little groups. We had what was the name of the kind of one of those protests? I think it happened on a Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago.
Hands off. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it seems like this is a huge snowball growing into something. But hang on. All right. It's under politics and power plays.
No, it's right there. you know what? We don't even have to do it. It's not.
Yeah, no,
It really
no,
isn't that.
we already got the people. We already got the people excited to hear it. So.
It's really just showing all the different places where people are protesting. I see it a lot. I don't know if you follow the news.
All right. Well, we'll bring it back and I'll play it later. Because I think all I'm gonna have to do is unplug my headphones for a second and bring it into the studio, and then I'll plug my headphones back in. But yeah.
Well,
So
just generally, what are you thinking as far as you? I mean, you've probably seen protests. I've seen them down here by me in the Tesla area. The one thing I will point out that these protests are the unmelanated of our brothers and sisters. You know, you don't see a lot of diversity. Now, there could be a lot of different reasons for that. People scared ICE might roll up, or you know, we know that Black America's kind of taken a little bit of a back seat since this November election. But it's good to see that there are people in America still that aren't going to just let tyranny go unchallenged without, you know, trying to do something without making their voice being heard. What are your thoughts on that? Are you seeing any protests or in your areas?
well, I'm not necessarily out. I think if they were doing something, I mean, I'm out in the neighborhood, but I don't see if they're going to do protests. It might be north. I haven't seen anything that I haven't seen them coming through the streets. But you know, you and I have talked about this. Some of you guys who know me, you know what I believe. You know, I believe the scriptures are very true, and the prophecy says that civil unrest is coming and civil war is coming. As per Revelations, the second horseman. So peace is leaving, and it's in men's hearts to kill each other. And unfortunately, what I've been praying is people step back, realize that our best bet right now is to be people of peace. And unfortunately, you're not going to like to hear this, but it doesn't matter. I still have to tell you, you should be planning to get out of America. You should be planning if the damage that's going to be done. If you believe America's coming back, God bless. We are seeing the fall of Western civilization. We're going to talk about that concerning some of the trade wars with China and how the capitalist systems in America are being exposed. And that's going to lead to more losses for them. But at the same time, let's say you think, all right, he's going to be president there's going to be a new president in 4 years, even though I'm telling you it's not. The prophecy says it's not. But if you believe it is, then it's going to be so bad. It'd be better for you to find somewhere else to live for 3 or 4 years and wait and see what happens with America. And then if your theory's right, it came back, move back to America in 5 years. But we are seeing the decline of and an almost intentional destruction of Western civilization done by one man. He's reinventing everything. He is pulling down all partnerships, alliances, destroying all old stuff. And he's saying, I'm going to build it brand new. But how much faith do you have in that?
Did you see, I don't know if you noticed this. You probably don't spend a whole lot of time on the official Trump website, but he's selling Trump 2028 hats. I don't know if you saw that. They're out. I saw a picture of Eric with the Trump 2028 hat. So he's actually selling these hats, even though right now it's constitutionally impossible for him to run. You see the marketing. You see the game has already begun. As Watson would say, the game is already afoot. Watson.
Listen, if you'll sell Bibles, if you will put I remember when President Obama said, man is selling Bibles. He got his name in the Bible right next to Matthew, Mark, and Luke, he put his name, and so if you do that, the gold sneakers, does anyone know someone? Anyone?
The Teslas on the White House lawn? Oh.
The Teslas, I mean, the gold card, we haven't even seen the gold card yet, the $5 million visa that's coming. So again, there are two groups of people, and I want to know which side are you on? Right. Are you on the side that believes that, the systems in America were so bad, the capitalist systems, the income taxes, the waste of government spending, the manufacturing that we outsource. It was so bad. The only way we're going to get to another side is to destroy it all and rebuild. And in the destroying of it all, a lot of people are hurt. There's a lot of damage. Are you on that side? Like, hey, it's going to take some time, but 3, 4, 5 years, we're going to be a greater America. Or are you on the side of, yo, this is terrible. This is not going to work. It's an admirable idea maybe, but it is not going to work. Which side are you on, Curtis?
I think I'm on the
stand
back and wait and see side for right now. But
okay,
listen, it's interesting because you bring up a point, and actually one of the stories that follows. I don't know if we'd be able to get the clip together or not, but there's an economist that talks about how this is not unusual that the first quarter the market sees some volatility, but generally in the second quarter we see a rebound. And he was tying that to the fact that the stock market in the last few days had shown, a rebound effect, if you will. And of course, we're in a new quarter now. So, I mean, that remains to be seen. But if the handwriting's on the wall, this guy is, like you just pointed out, is dead set on, seems like, destroying everything. Just like he's taking a sledgehammer to things and just like a bull in a china shop. I'm sorry, I'm just throwing cliches out here, but that's what we have here is like chaos. That's what it seems like. And I'm prayerful because I have roots here, obviously in America. So I want the people that I care about the best for them. But there is no superpower that lasts forever or has lasted forever, and I don't know why people would think that America would be any different. And we might be seeing the crumbling, the beginnings of the crumbling of the foundations of our country.
Well, and that's the whole thing. As I said, you're going to gamble one or two ways. Do you think it's going to work, or do you not think it's going to work? I'm putting up on the chat. Do you think Trump's plan will work? Let us know. Co-hosts, let us know. Do you think it's going to work? Do you think, hey, give them some time, and we're going to see something that we've never seen before? It's going to be back better. We're going to build back better. We're going to take the pain now. Or are you like, no, this is destroying everything? Let us know. All right.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. You're going to see. It's going to be huge.
Absolutely.
Moving on, just huge. Anyway,
bigly.
Listen, speaking of huge, what's going on in the trade war, if you will, between China? Now this is interesting because like we have seen some I don't know what you might call a softening of the stance of the American administration. Treasury Secretary Bassett was suggesting that perhaps the U.S. would look to descale or de-escalate the trade dispute going on with China. And first of all, I think this is a fight it was a silly fight to pick, but we are seeing that China is operating at a level of pettiness that I admire. We talked a little bit about, or maybe that was even before the show, the fact that China has kind of opened up its borders for shopping. They seem to have.
I don't think anybody knows about that. Let's tell them about it.
Okay. Well,
because that just happened.
So, of course, obviously, we know that tariffs have been placed against the Chinese government and everything that comes in from China. But what we're starting to see, and what I think China is taking is an opportunity, is to unveil remove the veil from everybody's eyes and understand that China's been making all of our stuff for years and years and years. And we have been playing a marketing game and marking up those materials that are being made in China slapping a logo on them and, you know, charging 100,000 times the price. And so China's being really smart about kind of destigmatizing the made in China. You know, sometimes you see things and you see the made in China label, and we've been indoctrinated to think, oh, that means it's cheaply made. Well, it's inexpensively made, but what we're starting to find out is that those big brand names that we hear of, I'm not a big brand name guy. Yeah. I got the Burka bags,
the made in Paris, the European brands, Louis Vuitton and
Gucci and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. $5,000 to $10,000 to $50,000 bags.
All made in China. All made in China.
Made in China. How do we feel about that?
And you know what? It's funny because it's not funny. It's tragic, really, when you think about it. But so they build these bags. Maybe the bag ends up costing $500 to manufacture in China, and then you see it in one of these upscale stores that my wife drags me into from time to time, and you see a $20,000 bag. That $20,000 bag was made for less than $2,000. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
And I think you're high on that estimate.
I'm sure I am.
We're seeing. Oh, look, we are seeing that more than 90% of the prices for the logo. But if it costs $2,000 because they're using quality product, they're using quality leather, they're using top-notch materials, great metals. Like even that guy, if you guys see this guy that's behind us, literally he was one of the first that we saw come out with this guy right here.
Yep.
Who's seen a video from this guy in the last 10 days? Let us know if you've seen this, because he's one of the first manufacturing houses to come out and let people know what was really happening in that manufacturing house. And look, One Supply shows a video of a $34,000 Birkin bag, Hermes Birkin bag, which costs just $1,400. So yeah, you were spot on. But I mean, this is my God. It's the exposing of the fact that and you sent a video that I watched, and it's by a guy that is very well known. He does a lot of commentary, and it's like the whole veil is off the Western world. Yep. The fact of what value you bring to the world. We get paid in this world for value exchange. It started out as bartering, and then we begin to trade products, and then maybe I came into your island or I came into your place and I saw, wow, you got some beautiful silk. Ooh, this is nice. Man, what you make this? And then next thing you know, okay, I'll buy that. That looks like quality. And then we're trading money for pay. It's all about trading. But then what Western society has done is they came into the same islands, they came into the same towns, the same cities, and they found out, wow, you can make this for how much? Right. I think I can sell this back home for a ridiculous amount. And that's where greed comes in. Okay, but that's all right. That's where it starts. That's market. That's that's the natural market. That's competition. But where this level is where it becomes, you don't actually make anything. And what you did in finding cheap labor, what the United States allowed you as a business owner to do in bringing your cheap labor, outsourcing your manufacturing, it allowed you to cut maybe you were making the stuff in America. Let's not assume these guys didn't start out trying to, take a smaller profit margin. And let's just play it out like this real quick. Let's say you're making a product here in America. And you're like, wow, I'm building a customer base. They like my product. They like my brand. This is amazing. All right, I make something that cost me, it cost me $400, and I could sell it for $700. All right, I got a nice little profit margin, 30%, whatever. all right, but I'm making my business. You know, I'm not really that profitable, but we're building something here. Next thing you know, 2 years down the road, you make a couple $100,000, but your profit is only maybe 70 grand. And you're like, all right, well, listen, things are good. I got a lot of customers. And then one day you discover that you can have a meeting with a manufacturer that will make the same product that it's costing you $400 to make. They can make it for $40. Right. And you're like, whoa, wait, the same product, and you're looking at the ones you've been making, you're looking at the ones they manufacture. What do? Do you say, now here's the thing, do you say, all right, well, now that I can get my product made for $40, I'll sell it for $150 instead of $700. So I can lower my prices now and get more people my product. This is going to be great. Or do you do what these guys did and say, $40, instead of making $300, I'm about to make $600 and, you know, $60. Well, and that's been the Western model. And so, and now, unfortunately, it's being exposed because that only works. That only works. And some of y'all from the streets will understand this when people don't know to connect. You gotta keep the plug hidden. So if the plug comes out, that's where we are.
Hey, China's the plug, and of course they're like, we're here. Hey, we'll sell you the street price. We'll sell it to you for the street price. And in fact, that's exactly what's going on. You alluded to earlier this 240-hour visa-free shopping. So if you're going to be in China over the next couple days, bring a couple suitcases and do some shopping because they're letting you come in visa-free. Go to these places and you can see and you can buy a Hermes bag, a Birkin bag, spend $1,500 and get the real bag that would be $20,000 or $30,000 in America. And the problem with this is, and there's a second part of that video that I sent you that I know you haven't gotten to yet, but the second part is executive compensation. You know, that's where if we made these things in America, we could do that, but we couldn't pay, these executives hundreds of times what the average worker is making, right? And we see these huge executive compensation packages. We talked about it on our other platform with regard to Luigi. We saw the Luigi who took out the CEO of the healthcare company. He was making $10 million, and he was one of the lowest paid CEOs in the industry. So that's a whole level of executive compensation in America is gone crazy. And of course, it's widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots, which is really the real fight that America is in. The rest of this is distraction. But that's...
So who's going to China? So who's going to China? Again, if you have not heard, China is offering 240 hours of visa-free shopping. You can come in, you can load up, and the talk right now is what's going to happen with American people. Are you guys, because again, there's people who are going to still go to China, try to get the Birkin bag without the label, and they want the Birkin bag and try to find a Birkin bag label to put on it. And we're still talking about being warped in the branding to the point where we now see that the bag that it should be, you're going to have people out there. I'm surprised if has anyone seen videos of people like filming rich people. Hey, that bag cost $200. Hey, I know the Louis Vuitton. Hey, that's only $80 though. Because at the end of the day, it's what I'm seeing this as, and I don't know if you're seeing it the same way or from another perspective. Good to see you get black with me. Is the devaluation of American products to the point where if now that it's not made for anywhere near that, and you still pay it, that's truly a brainwashing.
Right.
And now, don't get me wrong, America and the West has done a great job brainwashing people with branding. But are we going to see, do we think we're going to see more entrepreneurs raise up and realize, I'm going to be Frank Lucas. I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to go to the jungle of, where was he at? Cambodia? Who watched American Gangster? He goes in. He's in the jungle and he finds the guy and he says, look, I need this product and you're going to sell it to me at the best price and I'm going to sell it out elsewhere. I'll make my own branding when I get back home. Are we going to do we think we're going to see more business owners rise up, hopping on planes to China, now knowing that they can buy manufactured goods at a very low price, start their own companies, keep all the profit, they're buying direct from the source? Or do we think that they're going to sit here and we're not going to see, they're going to sit here like, oh, give us our brands back. I don't care. I don't want to hear none of that stuff. I want my Louis Vuitton. I want my Nike shirt. I want my Nike sweatsuit for $100, $120. What do we think? What are you guys' opinions? The co-hosts, what do you guys think? What do you think, Curtis? Do we see America rise up from industrialists starting businesses? Or do we see them sit there and flounder?
Unfortunately, I think we are, by and large, Americans have become lazy. We don't want to do the work. We'd rather pay, because of the capitalist indoctrination we have. I think that people, they don't mind getting fleeced. Actually, they think they're getting some sort of value. Now there's a certain portion of the population that's like, yeah, I mean, there's probably people right now trying to get over to China or get a connection in China to get some goods to kind of turn them around. And when you see those 70% off sales, that just means do you think that they're cutting their profits to sell to you at a discount? If you believe that, I have a bridge over in Brooklyn that I want to sell to you, because no business is selling something at 70% off so that they're breaking into their profits just to cut you a break. If you believe that, you are absolutely wrong. So, So if they have the wherewithal to offer you 70% off, how much are they making? Ask yourself the question. How much could they be possibly making if they can offer you 70% off and still make a profit? You're getting ripped off. We are being ripped off every single day. And we don't care because we're too lazy to go out and make something on our own. And we too much cowardice to challenge the status quo. And this is just because this is the way we've always done it. That's the way it should be. And that's the same excuse that kept us enslaved for 400 years.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I got
I ain't gonna lie, bro. No, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I had to put that in the chat. Curtis pulls the lid off of 70% off sales. I did not think about it like that. Because if you guys ever wanted to get black with me, said the veil has been lifted.
Absolutely.
Literally. That is crazy because, you do wonder. You're like, wait, 70% off. But now that we see the economics of the cost of the goods, we understand you could sell for 70% off, do a ton of business on a weekend or on when we do our 70% off sale, we might make, $200 per product or whatever. We might make but we're gonna sell X amount so it balances out. And the people think we're giving them something. The people think we're taking a loss. Wow.
Yes. That's it in a nutshell. Yeah. You just have to you just have to open your eyes and look and see what's happening around you. So,
well, it does look like we're getting a trend of foreign shoppers flocking to China. This article from Global Times says foreign foreign shoppers flock to China, showing strong appeal of Chinese goods. A growing number of foreign nationals have been flocking to China, not just for sightseeing, but also shopping, as China has expanded visa-free access and improved services like instant tax refunds. Instant. Ooh. So that's their version of their little 70% off sale. Our cost so low, we got you. Like some foreign shoppers and vendors, and improved services like instant tax refund. Some foreign shoppers and vendors in Beijing told the Global Times. Topics related to foreign tourists coming to China to shop have been gaining attention. So we're going to follow this, because even if there's only 200 companies, let's say there's 200 big companies that have been doing this and selling these bags for $20,000, $25,000. Get Black With Me said the vast majority of people cannot afford that. So now you have 200 major players in these fields. You get 200 people going to China. Or let's say you get, 2,000 people going, but 200 become the new people. They're the best. They got the system. And next thing you know, these people are going to build multi-million-dollar companies in the next, 12, 18 months. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be the new brand. So phenomenal opportunity. And of course, everyone's not going to take advantage of it, because as Curtis said, they have programmed people in America to be lazy, to be mentally lazy, to not be ambitious. And unfortunately, that's probably what's going to stay. But you do have a percentage of people that are going to launch their companies in the next 12, 18, 24 months that are going to be millionaires, because now they found this new, logistical way to do business. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah. And I remember going over to Manhattan, a buddy taking me to somewhere over in lower Manhattan, and these little shops there where you could buy stuff, a bunch of sweatsuits and stuff like that, so get them all wholesale. Yep. But now China is like opening its doors to the ultimate place where you can go and get all these things really inexpensively made, and then put your own label on them.
China then opened up Canal Street. Canal Street is China.
Exactly.
Canal Street is China. You get on a plane, come right to Canal Street. Our whole country is Canal Street.
Listen, there's layers to this, right? So we're thinking we're buying these great bags, and then somebody's buying one on Canal Street. We don't know. They're made right next to each other. Those bags are being made right next door to each other. But anyway,
absolutely amazing.
Listen, there's some other global news that we want to get to today, because Burkina Faso is again in the news. Our good friend Ibrahim Traore is doing great things, frankly, over in Burkina Faso. But there was apparently a recent U.S. military official who got in front of Congress, a congressional committee, and made some statements about the usage or how the Burkina Faso mineral and gold reserves were not being used on the people of Burkina Faso, but were being used to uplift the government, the Traore government. Now, he didn't mention Traore by name, but he did mention that the revenues were being used to sustain the ruling military regime. Now, we've had some pushback from that. The South African EFF, which is the Economic Freedom Fighters, has strongly pushed back on that claim. And they're basically saying that the U.S. is not being truthful in their characterization of the way the Burkina Faso gold reserves are being used. And they they came out with a statement that condemned the general statements, describing them as regrettable and gravely inaccurate. Now, I've got some questions.
Yeah.
First of all, the general that spoke up at AFRICOM,
Black general.
Yes.
As Get Black With Me said, that's General Langley.
General Langley.
Over AFRICOM.
Quick question.
Yep.
A couple weeks ago, I thought they fired all the black generals, didn't they? They got rid of all the black generals?
He's been on the ground in Africa for a very long time.
Okay.
as part of the AFRICOM project. So he's been in Africa for a very long. They fired the 5-star general or 4-star general. Forgive my
it was a 4-star general, and then they fired the woman, right?
Yes, exactly. And here in America, over our military, but this gentleman's been on the ground over there for a long time.
Well, that was a little tongue in cheek. That I thought they fired.
But for him to speak out, well, listen. At the end of the day, me and my dad joke about this all the time. The position we swore when we saw these bootlicking people, Tim Scott, and he's like, hey, they rallying for a position. And we swore, this was our joke. When they get a position, watch, don't they see one day Trump come to them, hey, look, listen, I got to talk to you. Look, we got a special job for you. Special job. Only you could do it. Oh, really? Good. All right, listen, that's what I've been waiting for. Tell me. All right, listen, we need you. We're going to send you to Cambodia. Just hold on. Hear me out. We're going to send you to Cambodia, right? We're going to give you 2 people with you, okay? We're going to give you about an $1,800 a month stipend, find somewhere to live. And, just we'll tell you what the job is when you get out there. But the plane ticket is ready. You fly out Monday. Okay, all right. And when he gets on that plane to Cambodia, they're going to forget Tim Scott exists. And I think that's what we did with our general here. And it's like, oh, we got a general over in Africa. What is it, AFRICOM? What are we doing with that? And it's just like, oh, yeah, he's there. But I think if he had been kind of top of the radar, he'd be gone too. So I think that's the only reason he's there. But it is surprising to me, and thank you for tapping into Juma, to see a black general tapping in with something that is, a lot of us think that he is lying. Get Black With Me said, Get Black With Me. Were you talking about Langley? You think he's lying?
Yes, she absolutely is.
Yeah. So I think the consensus is we don't believe you. And like, dog, come on. Like a white general, no offense. There's some white great people out there. But you don't expect a person who says they care about Africa, who is on boots in the ground, to be speaking out against really the best African leader we have seen in our lifetime and in this generation. So that's just and then you were talking and go deeper on the head of the Economic Freedom Fighters, who is a South African leftist political group. Go deeper on kind of how he spoke out and continue. I just wanted to interject there. Sorry.
Well, a couple things though, and our co-hosts are on it. Get Black With Me, Dejuma.
Welcome.
They are right on it. And the first thing to me is in context. I'm a little older, so immediately when I saw this story, it was giving me General Colin Powell vibes. And when you may remember when they put him in front of the Congress to say weapons of mass destruction were there. And that's why we got to go start a war with Iraq and go over to those places that had nothing to do with 9/11, right? And so they used that black general to put him in front of Congress to make the point of why we should go and bomb some brown people that look more like him. Now, this is the same thing. My first question is, why do we care? Why is America why are we even in their business? The people of Burkina Faso are elated over the leadership of Ibrahim Traoré. They know that he loves them and their country. So why are we putting our nose in it? I'll tell you why. It's because we can't get our hands on those minerals, those very valuable minerals. We can't get our hands on them and exploit them the way we used to. Yep. And the Western world is scared right now about this whole change in mindset on the continent of Africa, that we don't need the West in order to succeed. There's somebody Get Black With Me put France is mad. Absolutely. I'm starting to see more and more things on social media about, hey, why ain't France paying Haiti back for all those that money they were forced to pay France. You know, so we're starting to see
France is getting
an
killed.
awakening. You know,
yes.
And so yeah.
Yes.
Why do
go
we
ahead,
care?
bro. You go
Why
ahead.
is the U.S.
You preaching? You preaching? Go ahead.
I don't know what my wife spiked my coffee or something. I don't know something.
No, get your stuff off. Go ahead.
No, but listen, what we try to do here is unveil things for you and make them a little clearer for you to understand. This is all about the West keeping their hands in the continent or on the continent of Africa, stealing the resources or getting the resources at the cheapest possible prices and turning around and selling them for huge. It's really the same thing that we were just talking about with China. It's just a different continent that they're operating on. So it's a slightly
100%.
different way that they're doing it. But they want to get the minerals and then put them in our iPhones and charge you $1,000 or more for that iPhone.
Yep.
When they're getting those materials for pennies in a lot of cases.
And it's every single thing. It is literally the way they run everything. Deshone, first of all, welcome. We need you back every Friday.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much because as you were talking, Curtis, I'm just looking at Deshone and Get Black With Me, and they just like for example, when before you revealed this is why they're mad, we can't get our hands on those resources.
Absolutely.
This is the key. Everything they have done has been about exploiting resources, putting almost a monopoly on the market, basically eliminating competition in the market because competition drives down prices.
Right.
So we're going and we're getting contracts for these mines, making these local people, putting them in horrible deals, sometimes under duress, under threat. Hey, give us the rights to this mine. We got military here. We want the rights to this whole mine. It's like, but when you see what is, and God bless President Traore, if he can, and he's speaking out against the African Union.
Right.
He's letting us know that the African Union is supposed to be here for the collective progress of Africa. Yet we've had wars, we've had coups, we've had leaders killed, we've had violence in the Congo, we've had all of this stuff happening under the watch of the African Union. So now he's speaking out as far as he's speaking out for a voice of Africa, not just the continent of Africa, not just Burkina Faso. So we could potentially see him be the one, God willing, that actually unites a movement of not all African countries, but most of them into some type of union. And if he this is a man who could become the president of a continent. People believe in him that much so far. He's that charismatic. He's that popular. He's not a politician. Obviously, he's a military man. But to add one more thing in reference to France, France is on the public stage being embarrassed. Right. You get kicked out of a country when Ibrahim Traore, Captain Traore, put him out the cage. He said, "Get on the planes. Get out of here. We don't need y'all no more. We got
people Lamar. Get the stepping.
That's it, right?
Get the stepping.
Don't let the doorknob hit you." So he sends planes. France on planes back home. Says we're going to take control of our resources. Then he gets the president of Niger and Mali. So they form this union. Mali's your hometown, your home nation. And so one of them. And when I look at, all right, hold on, my headphones came out. The first thing was the kicking France out. The second thing was the, hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. The second thing was the actual, oh, wait, hold on, gotta come. When he made the union deal, and then what he did is he got a backer in Putin. Now, I don't necessarily, we'll see in time if that's a good idea, but for me, guys, this is just my opinion. This is a big world. It's about collaboration. It's about bilateral agreements. It's about partnerships. You need a military backing in this world if you're going to try to build your country from a small country to, hey, and unfortunately, I think we only have a few partners to choose. You're either going to choose China as a partner, you're either going to choose the US as a partner, which was NATO, or you're going to choose, Russia. And so he makes the deal where people like, hey, we can't even threaten them because we'll have Putin sending people in. And so now your defense is really getting set up. And then was it, somebody let me know, because I know one of our co-hosts know, was it Mali or was it Mali or Niger that changed their deal when they were sending I think it was not iridium, but not some precious metal that France was buying from them, Curtis, for when I tell you
I remember.
cents, where they raised the price literally to market value and brought in billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars that quick, just being able to raise the price of that one precious metal that they were exporting. So when what these three guys are proving, again, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, is when you make small changes to how your resources are controlled, the money comes to your country like it's like the floodgates open up. Yeah. And I think that obviously the West is worried. They are absolutely scared, because if this model continues, the Western world is, as we know it, is finished.
So Dejuma, I'm sorry, says it was uranium from Niger.
Uranium from Niger. Thank you.
So we have a very well-informed audience. Absolutely. And I'm appreciative of that. We want to, I love that topic. Continue to pray for President Traore, because I think that this is really earth-shattering. I think it's important for the continent of Africa to follow the lead of this revolutionary thinking brother and to protect him at all costs. Now, moving on to other news, back on our shores, kind of. I think it was this company that you were looking for the first quarter results, and we've seen them now for the car company Tesla. We've seen their first quarter results come in, and to say it gently, they weren't that good. It's the first quarter profits
it's the understatement of the show so far.
Plummeted by 71%. 71% in one quarter. Now, understanding this, Elon Musk, a great bit of his wealth is tied to Tesla, which is his main company that generates money for him, selling those ugly little cars. Now, what we're seeing is obviously with the protests and in Europe, they're even worse than they are here in America. We're seeing his plants being burned and etc. There's been so much backlash from his political engagement in our process and the damage that he's doing. And now it looks like finally it's starting to really get to the point where he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to be stepping away. I'm going to be spending more time. He was actually on the call with the shareholders, which is rare for him now, apparently, and just telling them that he's going to be taking, I guess, moving back into more active role in the management of Tesla. First of all, thoughts on Tesla's decreasing profits over the first quarter?
There's been two companies that we have been talking about a lot, Tesla and Target. And Target is hiding their first quarter results, because I'm telling you, I look for them every couple of days. Look at this. Look at this headline, y'all. Target braces for first quarter profit pressure due to tariff. They are putting out these, they know that, like we said earlier, not only is anti-DEI or whatever it is, let's call it MAGA. Let's not even call it Republican stuff. Let's call it MAGA. Whatever you're doing to align with Donald Trump's advice to you is destroying your company. And so you are losing things that it took you years to build. And this is proven now. But as far as Elon Musk, our false prophet here of Revelation 13. We know that this man should never have been in this position. He is not an American-born citizen. I don't like him because and let's not get, I'm not talking personally. Yeah, you know what? I don't like him as a person. And I'm going to tell you why. You were born in apartheid South Africa. Your father gained wealth in apartheid South Africa. For those of you who don't know what that looks like, here in America, when we consider Jim Crow, separation, segregation, whites over here, blacks over here,
right.
Black cities over here, don't come to our cities, don't drink out of our water fountains. That's apartheid South Africa. This is our land. We are buying up land in a nation that wasn't ours. And this is what he was born in. So now you come here, you get involved in politics through and if you guys don't know, this happened. We've seen this happen. There's a phenomenal documentary. It's called The Men Who Built America. And it's about a couple industrialists. Obviously, it's not about, our descendant, our ancestors who built it. We're talking more of, we're talking J.P. Morgan, we're talking, Vanderbilt, we're talking, Rockefeller, and it spotlights them. But it gets to something interesting. Around the turn of the century, coming into the 1900s, what we saw wealthy people buying politicians, and they wanted to, for their benefit, control the political field in America, and they had the money and the influence to do it. And it ended up being, a president, I think it was Theodore Roosevelt, who was elected, and he was I believe he created some of the antitrust laws to bust up the monopolies. This is the president who made Rockefeller sell Standard Oil and break it down from one huge monopoly into, very, very small Standard Oil companies that they still own. But they find their loopholes to get around it. But the point is, we've seen this before. We have seen wealthy people attempting to buy what they want in this country and control it through their money. And that's what we saw when this guy stood on stage and paid people $1 million and put them in a raffle to go vote. And it's like, wait, you're bringing weird stuff to this country. Not only fact, you're talking about going to space, we're going to colonize Mars. Who was thinking about this before Elon Musk was on the field? You know what? Who says to themselves, man, you know what I'm praying for? Not for more money for my family, not for better health, not for humanity to eat. We got homeless people, don't have a meal tonight. We got people sleeping on streets right now, can't get water. We got places in Flint, Michigan that don't have running water. But what I really want is God send somebody who's going to help us get to Mars. Whose prayer was that? That the fact this guy has an audience, he has people that support him. And so to see this weird ideology that he brings to our country and to our world, you want to put Starlink satellites everywhere. We know how your mind works. We've seen what you're from. You want satellites everywhere for monitoring people. And you have an audience that is backing you, that is supporting you. So to see him doing bad financially, to see his plans falling apart, I love it. I absolutely love it. That's my answer. I couldn't give you a short one on
that. First of all, I'm laughing because Elon Musk, if he didn't have all this money, he would be a nerd, working in a lab somewhere. He would be that guy that got beat up in high school because, he was awkward and nobody really wanted to hang out with him. But now that he has all this money, he can be cool. And unfortunately, he's only cool in his own mind because he's still a dork. I mean, I'm sorry. Did I say?
It's a fact. Him and Zuckerberg.
He's a dorky dude. And, if he wasn't paying women to have his children, I'm not sure that he would be having relations with anyone. because he's not that dude. He's not that dude. I could get off on a tangent on that, but I'm not going to do it. Because
I say get him. There's certain people. I don't believe in jumping people. I believe everybody deserves a fair one. But this guy, he ain't jumping the fist. Get him. I don't care.
Listen, I didn't. There's a story.
Human being. Not a good human being.
He's
in
not.
My opinion. No judgment. But literally, you could be doing so much more with your resources as the richest person in the world. You could be solving so many more problems that you are not solving, and you're spending millions upon millions of dollars to get to Mars.
If you just Google Tesla and black lawsuits, there are. This is why I didn't like Tesla or Elon before he became this, household name that he is now. Is because I had been reading in like the Wall Street Journal all along the way he had treated his black employees, the discrimination, the hostile work environment that they had been placed in. So he's not a good person. I don't necessarily revel in his downfall, but I'm not upset about it. Let's put it that way. I'm not upset about it. Now, let's go.
Let me be clear. Y'all not going to, before we move on, let me be clear. The prophecy says him and Trump are going to save this nation. So I don't want anyone to confuse my short-term opinions on what's happening today with what the prophecy says. The reason I call him the false prophet of Revelation 13, because he is that. And it says that him and Trump work together. The nation is going to have a mortal collapse to the point where the world's going to write it off, and then they work together and they save it. And Elon creates a digital currency that goes in people. So we'll go get more into that in future episodes, but don't ever confuse that. That's why I want you guys to know you've watched me enough, you've heard me enough to understand when something short-term happens, I am not coming off the prophecy because I'm responding in the short term.
Right. Well, of course, you can always check out our other content on Hello Black America, and that might fill in some gaps for you as far as
all things fulfilled.
Yep, there you go. If you want to start with that, that's a great place to start, where we discuss some of these things, and that'll inform your thinking. So, wanted to get into some quick hitters here, some things that have been going on in the last week or so that we want to acknowledge if we don't get a chance to speak to them in depth. First of all, though, we know there are billions of people who practice the religion of Catholicism, the Catholic faith. They are mourning the loss of Pope Francis, who was indeed the first Latin American pontiff who died this week at the age of 88. And if you didn't realize, last week on Easter, he was out with his Pope mobile. He was out in the square, visiting with the people, had a message for the people, and he looked good. He had been sick for about 3 weeks prior to that, on the edge of death, reportedly. And then all of a sudden on Easter, he makes his appearance to the people. And then the next day, we find out that he passed on.
Now, Curtis, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he have a visitor come and see him about maybe less than 24, 48 hours before his passing? Did I read that right?
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to put my conspiracy theory out there, but yes, J.D. Vance was one of the last people to actually see the Pope, have a meeting with the Pope prior to his passing. And I was in jest talking about the fact that you're putting some things together here. Our new administration's affinity for Russian dictator Putin and the way they jumped Zelensky, and the way that this Pope specifically had been taking a stance against immigration, against those who oppose immigration or the treatment of immigrants. This Pope was very actively protective of immigrant rights and things like that. So, putting one and one and one together, I was coming up with, maybe four. Like maybe there was some malfeasance going on. There was something untoward going on here, and the Pope ended up dying because of it. So, but I don't want to be irresponsible.
Of course.
And just putting things out there. But when I saw JD Vance shake the Pope's hand, I was wondering if he maybe had something on his hand. And
when I saw the visit, and then I think it was the next day I saw Pope Francis is dead. I said, wait,
the very next day.
It's like, wait a minute. And then look at the picture, y'all. Look at the picture on the screen. Let me take this down. Y'all see that picture? Let me just zoom in. Listen, we're smart people. I'm not gonna sit here. You're not gonna sit here and say anything. We got some comic relief here. Y'all know me and Curtis like to joke around, but look at the picture. Look at those eyes right there. It's almost like I wouldn't say based on this picture the Pope was too fond of this meeting. But anyway,
it's like it's like the demons in the Bible when they see Jesus and they like, oh, maybe. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not comparing him.
We'll leave it to our co-host in the studio audience to speculate. But yeah, we did want to acknowledge that. What else we got? Because like you said, we'll go through these quick hitters. We got a lot of quick hitters that we didn't even get to yet. So what else happened this week?
This is kind of, this has actually happened basically right after our show last week. We see Harvard, the largest university with the largest endowment, actually went to court to sue the Trump administration over their fight to take academic freedom from America's universities. And we're starting to see a galvanization of other universities starting to kind of close ranks and deciding to fight together to oppose some of these Trump things. So we're seeing that happen, and Harvard is kind of leading the way, as it probably should. It's in the best position to do it. It's got the most supporters who are alumni who actually support Trump, so they can get his ear, hopefully, at some point. But any thoughts on Harvard? I mean, it's just something to keep an eye on. I don't know how deeply we were going to get into that, but any thoughts on Harvard finally showing some backbone here?
Absolutely. If you notice, I went to the African American Museum of History and Culture last week, which we got some time. I want to tell y'all about this. Trump is actually removing things from there. But if we look at what I said to my children when we were in there, I said, a lot of the Black movements that you see, a lot of the Black progress that you see, listen, no offense to the Muslims, no offense to Catholics, our Black progress came from the church. Mm-hmm. So 90% of the things that are in that museum that have moved us forward as a people on every level, from community to starting our own insurance companies to starting our own neighborhoods and community, these were birthed out of the church. Civil rights movement birthed out of the church. But on the white side, a lot of their movements it gets birthed on the college campuses. Those young people, those 20-year-olds, those 25-year-olds, 23-year-olds, right. They are able to galvanize in certain ways. And it's not just always, and actually that we got to include the Black colleges too on the Black side.
True.
But we've heard about this over several decades. Just college students protesting, college students speaking out. So to have one of the largest, probably the most well-known, definitely one of the most wealthy colleges, actually taking a stand against the this administration, I think it just shows that we are positioned. This is getting positioned where the power struggle is getting real, because for the last almost 90 days, it's looked like all the power was on one side. And it looked like I think Costco was maybe the first company to say, yo, well, we're a big player and we're on this side. But you didn't have the deck stacked on this side. So to see more players, big influential players taking a side over here, this is going to get real interesting. So I'm just interested in watching to see how this plays out. I mean, anything kind of in detail you seeing or something you might be hoping happens? Or
Well, you speak to the fact that this is, that the college students are oftentimes the ones that lead the protest. They're the ones that have the energy and they're the ones that have the least to lose at that point, because they haven't accumulated wealth. They don't have a lot to lose other than, they don't know it, but they might have the chance to lose their futures. But we're always going to see the young people leading, and we just need to, as those who are more seasoned, we just need to give them the wisdom and point them in the right direction, and give them, with their energy, let them go. And we're seeing some of that on college campuses even now. So I don't think that's going to change. And Get Black With Me does make the point about the fact that the church was so involved, because that was one of the only social settings where white people allowed us to gather. And so that made sense. But
well, I want to, I don't usually disagree with Get Black With Me, but let's look at this. You said the church is less needed for organizing today. I was in the museum with my two daughters, and I said, where's the replacement? You tell me, where's the replacement? So we could say anything. We could say back then the church wasn't, we don't have to stay in here and organize. But at the end of the day, when I walked her through, I said, listen, to me, it's no coincidence that we have seen a breaking down of what worked for us. I'm not talking about televangelists. I'm not talking about rich preachers with jets and yachts and mansions. I'm talking about people who were brought to a nation and they taught the word of God, and these people made progress as a people. And now that institution has been destroyed. It was infiltrated. We have greedy people. But when we say it's not needed, where is the alternative? I'm talking about for Black people. Where is the Black? I've only seen 3 Black movements in the last probably 10 years. Black Lives Matter, which came out of Trayvon Martin and I mean, more people than we can name. I don't even want to start naming, but it came out of the what was happening there. And that was a combination of Black and white. That was not a Black movement. That was a combination of the world seeing things and, right. That wasn't like we spearheaded this Black Lives Matter grassroots and then it turned into something. Like, it came to a head real quick with viralness. Second, we saw, I don't even call it a movement, a blackout coalition. That was a 2 million people in a Facebook group and during 2020 after George Floyd, because nothing really happened after George Floyd that actually solidified us and moved us forward. We started businesses. Don't get me wrong. We went, a little independent. And then we saw a lot of people got paid. A lot of people got paid. A lot of Black people that I know took advantage of opportunities from the pandemic, saw it as a wealth transfer, set up themselves. But again, not uniting like we saw in that museum. Mm. And then the last thing we saw is this Black Project 2025. We've seen movements come fizzle out. And what I saw there, until I see that it wasn't necessary, I'd like to know, what is the replacement for us to say, well, it's not needed. I think it is needed, because it's the only thing that I've seen in my lifetime that has moved us, besides Malcolm X, who was, he was one. I don't even think he was a little bit of a different Muslim. I don't even look at Malcolm X like the Muslims that I know in East Orange or the Muslims I know in our neighborhood. He did so that's just what I wanted to tap into. And I'm gonna put up all your comments because I'm really curious about this. I always say, and then Curtis, I'll give the floor to you. I always say this: the Giants got rid of Saquon Barkley. We didn't replace him.
Nope.
And therefore, we had a horrible season again because we gave away something or we moved away from doing something that was so valuable, even though everything wasn't perfect. He was so valuable to us. And then he's gone now, and yet we have no replacement. And we have a huge void in that position. That's how I see some of the things that our ancestors did 50, 70 years ago, 100 years ago, that we said, well, nah, it's different now. But we're not getting the results that they got. And we have more resources than they have. We have more connections. Things are cheaper. We have more freedom. Ain't nobody killing us. And we're not getting the results that they got.
Well, that is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on as well. But yeah, a child shall lead them. And we're showing that the young people are doing their thing as they have typically, traditionally. Moving on, though, we got some other quick things we want to get into today. We don't even really have to talk about this a lot, but the number 2 Democrat in the Senate, Dick Durbin, he's a senator from Illinois, announced that he's not going to seek re-election. I'm not a Democrat, nor am I a Republican, just for you trolls that may come for me. But it is important in one respect. The guy's 80 years old. He served in the Senate since 1996. So that's nearly 30 years. I think that's probably long enough. I mean, there's probably nothing even to say. This is just another opportunity for the Democrats to make sure they better make sure that they fill that seat with somebody who is committed to overcoming tyranny, because they're going to need a strong. I really think that we should probably do term limits, because we got too many. Somebody says one less octogenarian. I think we got too many of them in the Senate. We really do. We got to get rid of the old guard, these people that are so entrenched. They're making so much money just from being in Congress, getting paid from these different lobbying organizations and things like that. The whole thing is corrupt. So, you have to at least consider people that are like, let's burn this entire system down and start over, because there's so much corruption weaved into the American society from the top down. It really is, and we've got to realize that. Anyway, moving on.
I'm putting the definition up of I had to look it up.
Octogenarian.
Octogenarian is
older than me.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Because I saw Get Black with Me with that one less octogenarian, and I'm like, okay.
Those are the old folks.
We call those on the show here those Stephen A. Smith words.
And
I'm like, all right, let me look up. Okay, a person who is from 80 to 89.
Hey, both my parents are octogenarian, so I'm familiar with that term.
Absolutely. Like, come on. Like, how do 80 and 90% 90-year-olds represent, the culture of America? And how we have these people making decisions for us?
They're not in touch.
Why do you think? Let me ask you a question, Curtis, because you're very into the civics and why do you think we don't see more young people going into, starting at the local level and then going to the county level, state level? Why do we think that? Where are the young people that are interested in civics and politics?
They don't teach civics anymore. If you haven't realized it, it's all part of the game. We talked about the fact that they want an uninformed electorate. They don't want people that are smart enough to understand what's going on in the local government, and that all these things flow from the local government and go on up. It's the dumbing down of America. The dumbing down of America. If we take civics out of the schools and don't teach these young people the importance of civic engagement, of voting, of staying active in your local government and understanding what's going on with the funding. If you don't understand these things, then it doesn't matter to you. They can sneak up and steal everything without you even knowing that it was something valuable that was taken. Wake up. Wake up, people. If you don't have the common sense to know these things, if you weren't taught them, that is great. You have these little computers that you have in front of your hands that can look up all types of information. All you got to do is look it up, read. And unfortunately, because we've heard there was a statistics that I think it was at Harvard that they surveyed the freshman class, and the freshman class had never read a book cover to cover. So think about that. We've got people going to one of the most prestigious academic institutions in the country, and they have this whole freshman class, or a great majority of them, saying that they've never read a full book. So it's the dumbing down of America, and you have to fight back against that. We have to fight back against that individually and collectively. The fact of the matter is that they don't want you to have the ability to think through these things and understand what's being done to you. All right, I'm getting off the pulpit for now.
No, go ahead. I'm pulling up. You mentioned the Harvard survey. I pulled it up on the screen here. It says here, I mean, the headline is pretty cool. It's time for Harvard students to pick up a book. And as I'm scrolling down, it says, for me, a prospective English concentrator, she said, I read my book last week, because the headline question, when is the last time you read a book cover to cover? Harvard students complain about reading constantly. Right. They lament. Listen, whenever you see that word lament, that means that's different than complaint. That's like it's pain. They lament any assignments requiring they conquer more than 25 pages as tedious or overwhelming if they aren't passing the work off to ChatGPT. Wow.
There's that.
And this is Harvard.
Full disclosure, I probably would have been a lawyer if I liked reading more. I probably would have gone to law school, but I looked at all the pages we have to read. I'm like, I'm not about that life, but I will read sometimes. But yeah, people don't like reading. They don't. They just don't like reading.
And Get Black With Me just said, imagine how, if that's Harvard. She said, imagine how much they are reading at Howard, which is some of you guys don't know. That's a historically Black college. Imagine what's going on in our HBCUs. If the most prestigious, look, make sure you see the most prestigious. But wow.
Well, I'm not so sure about that. I bet that I would wager that same survey at Howard would probably yield a little bit more of a reading appetite, because Black folks, we weren't allowed to read for a lot of years. So there are people that have read, about their own history and culture, have had to be more intentional to go out and find information, because it wasn't always, readily available to them. So
no, she just said, look, Curtis, I have firsthand knowledge.
We know that.
Did you cry?
Get Black With Me.
Because it's and one thing we know about you, Get Black With Me, you're very well read. And which means you just, for those of you that likes to read. And so I think you have a passion for reading to the point where it would make you upset or sad or disappointed to see that, wow, in a world like Curtis just said, all the reasons we have, especially, white people, if they're losing their ambition, or if they're losing their, maybe they've been on their high horse so long and they're 3, 4, 5 generations of comfort. All right, maybe, and then your parents can afford to send you to Harvard, then maybe, yeah, I'm lazy now. But as Curtis said, like, that shouldn't be us. Right. Which would create even more disappointment when it is us. Like, wait a minute, y'all, this is the time where, we can't be following suit, or we're gonna be in trouble. But
I just was acknowledging Get Black With Me, talking about they have 2 degrees from 2 advanced degrees from Howard.
Let's clap that
up. Absolutely.
Clap it up for our sister. 2 advanced degrees from Howard.
And that just, I didn't need to know that, to understand that Get Black With Me was well read and knew what was going on because of the interactions that we have on a weekly basis. So outstanding, and we need more people to lean into that because and I was brought up with the you got to do twice as good to get half as much mentality. That's something that Black folks need to hold on to. Now, it's not fair, but we still definitely want to be overachievers because so often our accomplishments are denigrated and taken for granted. But anyway, we want to move on. We only have a few more minutes here. Wanted to get to a couple things. I'm gonna skip over a couple of these here, but big movie out. The Ryan Coogler movie, Sinners. Have you seen it yet?
Who's seen Sinners?
We went to see it last week.
I've been hearing about this movie. Well, let me tell you the first time I heard about it. First time I heard about it, I'm seeing an article. It says this movie had I see Michael B. Jordan's picture. This movie had a blockbuster opening, $60 million, but they still need to make up to 30 million to pay back what they spent in the studio. I said, wait a minute. I have not, and you know what? You know who shared that? Ben Stiller.
That's right.
Ben Stiller, he shared it and he said, I have never seen a headline like this on any movie.
He's like, since when is $61 million not a good opening weekend?
Boom, boom, we supposed to be popping champagne.
Exactly.
You know, especially considering that only a few of our Black stars can have that type of opening. Of Denzel, we have, Will Smith. These are monumental numbers. And so I saw, straight up shade. That was the first time. But then throughout the week, you have Kev on stage sharing. You have everybody, I just saw this, go see it. So me and my wife are going Sunday without any spoilers, y'all. And y'all, I'm telling y'all co-hosts, I have not seen it. We're going Sunday. Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
I'm telling you.
What'd you think? What'd you go ahead.
I am not a consumer of the horror genre at all. I don't do horror movies. I'm very careful of what I allow into my spirit, frankly. And that's why I don't do those sort of things. But I did feel the need to support this brother. And it is an outstanding movie. It is very, very, very well done.
All right, that's enough.
I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but it is very well done. You're going to like it. I predict, because it's just very well done, and the symbolism that runs through it is amazing.
No, that's enough, Curtis. That's enough. I'm putting in the chat here because look, Get Black With Me says she hasn't seen it either.
All right, all right.
Curtis better not ruin it for us.
I'm not. But go see it. Go see the movie. It's worth it. Don't be scared off by the horror genre. Kudos to Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, and they're saying that they literally by this weekend he might do that 100 million.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, it's looking like a record-breaking box office hit, and I'm looking forward to going and get my ticket. Me and my wife are going Sunday, and look, she said her daughter told her the whole thing. All right, then you don't say nothing either. I don't want to listen. Next time, I know a couple people with me, and I swear my dad's like that, man. He'll tell you the whole movie and start out like I said, don't tell me, and then but all right, but then he said, oh man, the ending is gonna get you. Don't tell me that. Next time.
Oh man. All right, only got a couple minutes left here. But congratulations.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up in about 7 minutes, y'all. We got a couple more things, Shannon Sharp. Go ahead. I know that's not where you were going now, but go ahead, Curtis.
No, I just want to congratulate Jalen Hurts and his fiance got married. I think her name's Brianna Burrows, or was. So congratulations to Super Bowl MVP and champion Jalen Hurts. Rude to the good bros. He's also a fraternity bro. And hey, congratulations. Listen, I'm gonna just say it.
Okay,
I'm glad to see black love.
Come on now.
I'm glad it's a black woman on this.
I was saying, don't shy away from it.
I'm gonna let it go because I appreciate the love of a strong black woman, of a woman who understands when I had a bad day, when the world's been pushing me down, and I need to be lifted up. I want to come home to somebody that looks like the person that birthed me. But that's just me. No shade.
Listen, no, I just want to piggyback that saying, hey, let the church say amen.
Amen.
I'm telling you, I am so happy to see, because we saw his competitor in the Super Bowl, which phenomenal guy, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yeah, he went the snowflake route.
You know what? You know he's
Okay.
he's in the vanilla flavor. So it's just like we understand when we see a brother on the main stage, won the Super Bowl, dominated, MVP, and then you said, man, you know what? I got everything, because it also sends a message to our young people who admire this man. You know what? I just won the Super Bowl. Y'all know I got a bunch of money. Y'all see me go viral because my chain look way better than rappers' chain. But I got all the things in the world. But you know what I'm about to do? I'm about to marry my woman.
Yes, indeed.
That is a beautiful message as a role model. And I'm marrying a woman who, like you said, looks like my mother, or looks like, or can identify, because it's not about race. Can you identify internally with what we go through as Black people? Not from the eye. I don't care how much you've been around Black people. You know, man, I was raised in the hood. Hey, brother, you know, and all my friends were Black. You're not Black, though. Just like I can't understand what it's like to be a white man raised around Black people. You know, I could have you, you know, I could see, my man Bobby, man, he grew up, he's the only white boy in the neighborhood for 15 years, but I still don't understand what it's like to be Bobby. So that's what, have someone who can identify what it is like to be in our position, is see that marriage, they both rich, happy, got just many, many blessings. Congratulations to our brother.
Absolutely. And I want to see more of that. I do want to see more of that. You know, you listen, you fall in love with who you fall in love with, but I would love to see our Black queens be the prize when these young men reach a certain pinnacle, they reach a certain place of achievement. I want them to reach back and make sure they're getting a strong sister to support them. Get Black Whitman talks about the.
That's what I'm about to ask you, Curtis.
Yeah,
Dak Prescott has a white wife?
Listen.
Hold on.
Listen. And that doesn't even surprise me.
Man. I mean, I'm not saying I'm surprised. I'm just saying, I thought he was.
And then you're going to put
I needed another reason. Look, y'all don't know I'm a Giants fan.
If you didn't have reason to hate Dallas before.
Listen, I'm a Giants fan. I didn't necessarily need another reason to not like the Dallas Cowboys or his court, but now I got another. Come on. And again, this ain't listen, go ahead, move on before we get ourselves into something. Go ahead.
Anyway, I can't stand Dallas anyway.
We got another. Matter of fact, let's segue to the topic at hand.
Yes.
So let's just stay on the topic about our Black brothers dealing with white people and not having the wisdom and judgment of how to do that. I ain't got no problem with you dealing with white people. I love everybody. But we got to be wise, and we do have to see that history has shown us that we can get jammed up when we go into this thing blind. Hence our brother building the media company of the 20th century or the 21st, whatever. We are looking at Shannon Sharp, y'all, and we are saying to ourselves, this guy is building a brand like we've never seen. Club Shay Shay, Nightcap. He's on ESPN. He owns everything. He owns his brand. He owns his intellectual property. He's getting great guests. He gives us the Cat Williams interview that starts off 2024. It's at 90 million views, biggest interview in the world. We're thinking our brother is on his way to Bill Cosby status in the media.
Oh, don't say Bill Cosby status.
Oh, shoot. Before the fall. I mean, dang, see, this is how few people we have in position. Jesus.
Shannon. Listen, this is not about Shannon. When you get to be 56, put the foolishness away. I mean, if you've lived as a Black man to be 56, have a certain amount of success that you have achieved, you should be wise enough to understand there are traps out there for you. You are a come up for somebody. Now, I'm not saying he did this or didn't, but he's been sued for $50 million And apparently he was offered a settlement, and he offered a settlement. They said, no, we want the whole 50. Run the dough.
He offered a $10 million settlement. And Curtis, did you see how old the girl is?
She's 20. She was 20 at the time. I think she's 22 now.
I thought she was 19 and she's 20 now.
I've seen both. I've seen 19 and I've seen 20. So
either way, my daughter's 18 right now. A year from now, if she was talking to somebody in their 50s, in their 40s, but 50s,
but he's wealthy. You're not letting your daughter. You're not letting your 18-year-old daughter date a 56-year-old man that's worth millions.
There's a problem with her mind.
Ooh.
And then there's another problem with the man's mind.
Oh.
So I'm concerned about both. What is it in you? Even if you forget the money, because if it's the money, there's definitely something wrong in your mind. You know, he's rich. You're done. I did a horrible job as a father. 2 is, but he really loves me. He's not rich. Just a regular guy. Dude's a maintenance man. Like, remember Vanessa, who saw the Bill Cosby episode, the Cosby Show? Because I love the Cosby Show. God, I ain't talking about what he did, but there was an episode when she brings this guy Drabness, the Bricky home, and he's a maintenance worker at the college, and she brought him home to Claire and Cliff and said, I'm marrying this guy. There was something wrong there, because what makes you skip over everyone in your age group? Everyone.
Right.
You can't find anyone in your age group, anyone 10 years ahead of you, 10 years to relate to. And I look at this as anytime you're bringing a Drabness the Bricky home, I don't know. Unless y'all could tell me that there's statistics that show that when these people marry and they are so far apart, those things last. I look at it, it got to be something underlying there. Like, you're waiting for the dude to kick the bucket. So that's just my thoughts. But listen, let's go deeper.
I don't know how deep we're going. I'm disturbed to even talk about the subject, frankly. But if you're 56 years old and you have to reach back to somebody that's in their 20s to get a companion, then that shows an intellectual deficit to me in your mind, because there's no way that a 20-year-old and a 56-year-old have anything to discuss that's in common. You try and have a more, you can have a conversation with your daughter about things, but you will find out soon that she's interested in things that don't interest you. That you may take interest because she's your child, but that's not something that you would be interested in necessarily, right? Mm-hmm. So this guy is choosing to socially associate himself with someone 30 years his junior. What can they have in common? What can they have? What can they share together other than physical intimacy? And you can get that anywhere, I guess. I mean, well, anyway.
Sounds like he has a problem. Like Get Black With Me said, it sounds like a pervert problem. Like,
yeah, there you go.
Again, and she's right. Dabness was a solid dude. Like, keeping it real, he was not that far apart. He wasn't in his 50s. He's just a little older. I think, what was he? Get Black With Me in his late 20s or something like that. And she was, maybe 10 years apart, whatever. They were closer than that. But even that was uncomfortable. But once you saw, all right, maybe they do have something. Maybe a 10-year-old guy, because they always said that men were less mature than women. So that's a fact. We knew that. But 50, 30 years apart, and then if you guys haven't heard the tapes, it's he's talking about choking her on film, coming down and saying, hey, I'm going to choke you when I get down there. Not in a sexual way. Literally, like, we're going to see, like, big black guy, like, I would be nervous if I was her. Like, he ain't saying it. So, again, it's a disappointment, and I'm going to leave it here. If you guys watch that clip of the Monique episode where Monique is interviewing, Shannon's interviewing Monique, she goes off on a very motherly rant, and they're in the same age group. So it's more like a,
big sister.
Listen to your big sister, Shannon. Stop messing with these young girls. Like, really, listen, get you an older woman, someone that you can relate to, blah, 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 blah. And you can see Shannon sitting over there like, Mo, this in one ear and out the other. I got a young thing waiting on me Friday. And to see it so quick, less than 6 months or 8 months later, turn into this is just like, like you said, Curtis, when you get a certain age, you want to get rid of the foolishness. Foolishness is not taking messages that come to you, and it could have been a warning,
right?
But you just didn't heed the warning, and now look, your entire everything you've built over the last 4 or 5 years is in total jeopardy. We must learn from mistakes, and we have to get wiser, because this is a black man who is on his way to potentially being something that would be, God willing, one of our black superstars and one of our black people who could move us forward and, even give us the playbook for media. And then you mess around and not even be here in the next couple of years. So it's sad for all ends.
Take some biblical advice. When I was a child, I spake as a child, but when I grew up, I put away childish things. Maybe you should read that passage, Mr. Sharp. But anyway, our time is vastly gone.
Yeah. We're 12 minutes over, y'all. We like to wrap up at the 1:30 hour, so at the 1:30 mark, but we're 12 minutes over. So Curtis, I think we hit on. I think we hit on pretty much everything we did want to hit on. I did want to circle back with one comment, and I don't know if Deshone is still here, but are there anything that, because I'm just skimming, anything you see on our list that happened this week that we wanted to hit that we didn't? Talked about centers. We hit on Jalen Hurts. We hit on I think.
Listen, there's stuff coming out even as we were going on the air this morning. There's stuff going on all the time.
Oh, God. Pete Hegseth.
We saw the Pete Hegseth stuff going on. He's still acting up with the signal chats, getting his cousins and uncles and I'm going a little far there, exaggerating, but his wife and his brother and other members of the family on these signal chats where he's giving classified information out. He's an idiot. I mean, let's just and a drunk idiot at that. But I can't put too much energy into people like that because when you go to the circus, you expect to see clowns, and we are in the middle of the circus.
Do you think? I mean, listen. I know we'll drag it out. Give us another 3-4 minutes, because that's a big one, y'all. This man runs our military, and he controls the military for the United States. This stuff runs through him. Pete Hegseth has twice now leaked classified information, or not even leaked, have not secured his conversation.
Right.
You don't even have the knowledge to make sure you're on a secure line of communication. First with the signal thing, and now you are texting. Was it with his wife? Who was he texting, y'all? With his wife? It
was another group chat. It's the same type of information that was out in the first one. So, when bombings are happening, what the logistics are, what country, we're going after. So all these things that if you were in the military, you wouldn't even tell your family because of fear of being outed as to where you were in the world. This type of information is being shared openly on an unsecured line. This is a rookie mistake of epic proportions. It potentially could put the lives of our servicemen and women at risk. And he promised he was going to stop drinking. I haven't seen that. You might have seen a clip of him doing a press conference somewhere and pulling a glass right from underneath the lectern and starting to drink.
We just had a crash. Can you guys see now? Look, get black with me. I agree. Hopefully our bro Curtis. If not, then I'm just gonna wrap it up in about 3 minutes because people gonna wrap us up anyway. But this, if you guys don't know, that is Dr. Arikana. She's brilliant. She's the former ambassador to the United States of the African Union. She didn't last long in that position because she's not a puppet, can't be told what to do. And I'm interested in that ADDI because I did join it. I did join it first back when I got her book. And I'm interested if it is something. I'm going to look a little deeper. because I support her. I think her mindset is incredible. You guys probably see her. She goes viral all the time. She is literally she's one of our generation's leaders, and very well spoken, very intelligent, and you know, you guys know what I tell you. But now I'm gonna give you a time. Okay, good to see you back, bro.
I don't know what happened.
We just had a crash. It froze for a second where I couldn't bring the comments up, and then it kicked you out.
Yeah, I was like telling you, I can't hear you, brother. I can't hear you. But yeah, I realized you couldn't hear me. I'm sorry.
All I did was no problem, because I brought up this this comment from Get Black With Me about check out the African Diaspora Development Institute website, started by someone who we know, Curtis, we talk about all the time, Dr. Arakana in Africa. Right. And so I showed her that I had this book, Africa 101. It's a wonderful book. If you really want to understand, like, not just logistics, the plans, what the West has done, and just basically be able to see how we can simply reverse engineer it. Great book. Follow that woman. And then, yes, I'm going to look deeper into the ADDI. But yeah, you were just, not to spend too much more time on them, but yeah, you were basically just talking about, our Secretary of Defense, who unfortunately is proven to be a drunk, incompetent person. And what is that going to? I asked in the chat, should he be dismissed at this point? Because if a person burns you twice, right, what happens when he leaks something? Because we don't even know how these countries are using the information they already got from the leak. But what happens when something leaks so bad that it actually puts us at a national security risk because we have an incompetent person in that very important position? Yeah,
it's frightening. There has been some talk, though, the whispers that they're starting to look for. The White House denies it, but they're starting to look for replacements for Hegseth. He is a dumpster fire. He really is. We knew this going in, right? Hiring a weekend Fox host as your Secretary of Defense, whose only military record is, some minimal time in a lowly military position. He lacked the intellectual gravitas to run the biggest defense in the world, the biggest military in the world. And yet, that's what 47 thought was a good idea. And the fact of the matter is that he's burned so many bridges from his first administration that he probably can't get real competent people to jump in, or people at least who are so blindly loyal to him that they don't, they common sense goes out the window. So you pump a couple drinks in old Pete, he'll do anything you tell him to do, Right. So listen, I can't with this. This is one of the hardest things, is being forced to have to, because if we weren't doing this show, I would be ignoring most of this stuff. 100%. I really would. But I kind of feel a responsibility to keep our audience engaged, and therefore that means I have to stay engaged, which isn't always a good idea. So I hope you appreciate the sacrifices we make 100%. For having to deal with this foolishness on a daily basis.
This ain't something we want to do. We don't want to be reading and seeing all this foolishness all day, but we don't want to be blindsided. And,
absolutely.
And thank God what we're doing here every week, y'all, and you guys bringing your additional stuff that we need to keep an eye on, things that are happening. It allows us to, when this whole thing goes way left, we're at least not going to be blindsided. So, but and I want to mention before we go into a wrap up, Trump, when asked after the second leak, hey, are you going to dismiss, Pete Hegseth? He said, why did you ask me that? It's a stupid question. So I don't know if that's Trump just being Trump, not public facing Trump, or if it's like, no, but at this particular point, we need to get him up out of here fast.
Yeah, they better, because it could end badly, and I don't want that to be the case for our troops that are serving so bravely across the world. Any final thoughts that you may have? We're working on This Week in Black America to try and find that right balance as far as time and energy and things like that. We really appreciate our co-host, you, our audience. You bring something to the table every single week, something that we can go back and study on. So we appreciate you helping us raise our level, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Hey, this is all important stuff, and we need to be aware of it, even if it's not our first choice. We don't want to necessarily have to, but we like Brother Deshone said, you don't want to get blindsided. So I'm going to keep it alive. Stay woke, y'all. Stay woke. I don't care what they call it. You and I know what that is. Stay woke. Brother Deshone, anything from you as before we wrap things up here?
I want y'all to remember this. It's April 25th. You got less than 3 years to make your plan on how you're going to get out of America. Remember this. You got less than 3 years. When Trump's not leaving office. He is king. He will be king. And when he gets that second term, that third term, that's when all hell breaks loose. That's when oppression, because he's going to control half of the world when he creates his own currency. All of this dollar is going to be gone. The dollar will be no more. So, and he's already hedging against the dollar with his currency. But you got 3 years to make your plans. You don't have to move now, but watch. That Brother Deshone says something to me. I ain't going to listen to it yet, but I'm going to watch. And okay, a year from now, whoa, this is looking worse. 2 years from now, wow, this is looking deadly worse. Okay, you got one more year at that point. So make your plans, start praying, because that's what's coming. And that's my final words.
Listen, thank you for that, brother. And
in the name of Jesus, I don't like speaking, to where it says anybody who profits without their head covering, and the covering of every man is Christ. And so in the name of Jesus, that's a prophecy that I'm telling you. That's what the word says. That's the interpretation. And because we're wrapping up the show, I would be remiss to not tell you what God is telling me to warn people of, according to what the book of Revelation says is coming. It's a collapse coming, bad collapse coming. Trump and Elon work together. They save it. New currency comes. Everyone who does business with the U.S. trade has to use that currency. It's going to be, and if you are in this country, in the name of, it's not going to be, universal basic income. They're giving us money, but it's going to be, we can't do this because it's digital money. We can't put this on your phone. Someone can steal your phone. We have to put it in you. Because we still have, y'all, as much as we've tried to do this immigration thing, we've made efforts. We've gotten a couple million people out. That's what they'll say. We've gotten more people out than anyone. Won't be true, but they're going to still say, hey, we still got so many people here and we don't know if they should be in this country. So we're going to starve them out. We're going to smoke them out. Everyone who is real, we need you to come get this chip in your hand. That's where your money's going to be. And you're not going to be able to buy and sell in this country without that chip in your hand. So everyone who's a citizen is going to go get that chip. The immigrants, the illegals are going to say, I can't go get it. I'll get arrested. That's how they're going to smoke them out. But in the meanwhile, you're not going to have any U.S. dollars to use because they're not going to accept them. And your money, and unless you have gold, something you can barter, you're going to be stuck. So you got 3 years. That's all,
brother. That is deep. And, you and I have discussed that. And it's very easy to see if you are at all a student of the Bible. It is very easy to see how what you have laid out could very easily happen. So even if you're skeptical, I as we always do, encourage you to pray and watch.
Pray and watch.
That's it for this week in Black America. Thank you for joining with us. We appreciate you. We'll be back again next Friday at noon. Hope you can join us then. But that's it for us this week. I'm Curtis Cheatham. That's my brother Deshone. That's it for this week in Black America.
God bless, guys. See y'all next week. And if you haven't, hit that subscribe button. We'll take you out with our the world's best theme music for your listening pleasure.
rollbacks.